Hmm. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Srish University's Facebook Live session. The revolutionary step of Government of India through eNAM, Electronic National Agriculture Market, strengthen Indian agrarian community towards one nation, one market goal, facilitating farmers, traders, mandis to work collectively. Portal reaches its milestone of 1,000 mandis across 18 states and 3 UTs. On the other side, 25-year-old young agripreneur Achyut Reddy ji is setting a sustainable trend in the agribusiness sector in Telangana state. Mr. Reddy introduced NutriFresh premium quality free range eggs to the Indian market. Currently, the eggs produced are directly delivered to the end consumers in a farm to fork table, concept which we have pioneered even though on a small scale. These activities shows enthusiasm of farmers and support of government to build a strong agricultural practices in India. I am Dr. Richa Baghel, Assistant Professor at Srish University, Agribusiness and Management, moderating today's discussion on the prospect of MBA Agribusiness in Industry 4.0. We have three panelists with us: Professor Barada Prasad Panigrahi, Director of Srish University's Incubation Center, Mr. Keval Desai, who works at Deer Cows, SSC alumnus also, and current MBA student agribusiness, Swadhin Mohanty. We welcome all the panelists to the live session. Please ask your questions on the chat box and we will take it up from there, the panelists. Let's get straight to the first panelist. I'm glad to introduce our first panelist, Professor Barada Prasad Panigrahi, Director of Srish University's Incubation Center. He has been awarded as the living legend for youth inspiration in the area of entrepreneurship development by Odisha Incorporation. He's a certified master trainer on entrepreneurship development by National Entrepreneurship Network of Vadhwani Foundation, trained on agri-entrepreneurship by Manage Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India. With these solid entrepreneurial background, Barada sir teaches MBA Agribusiness at Srish University. Sir, we welcome you. Sir, I have a few questions for you. How do you see future of farming?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Richa. So I also welcome the other panel members to this discussion. Future of farming is very bright. I say future farming, it's like is the democratization of the farming sector. The farmers will take their own decision in purchasing what kind of seed they have to purchase. Okay, what variety of the seed they have to use. Okay, today they are driven by the retailers, and it's the retailer advises that seed which is benefit for the retailer community, not for the farming community. Okay. Second aspect, today the MSP, minimum support prices, is designed by the government. But unfortunately, most of the farmers, they don't get their price for their produce. Okay, so the future of the farming, it will be like this. As I told, it will be the democratization of the farming. So the farmer will take their own decision in devising their market price, in deciding to whom to sell and how to sell. So it will be, the future of farming is like this. It will be of the farmer, by the farmer, and for the farmer. Okay, and it will be for the benefit of the farming community, the community who is feeding us day and night. It's 1.3 billion people in India. Today they are not recognized. Today they are not ready to send their kids to this profession. But in future, the scenario is going to be changed. In fact, the drive has already started through intervention of technology in agriculture sector.
Yes, sir. That was really nice thought. So, because India got independence in 1947, but our farmers were still slaves of these channels, but now this democratization of agrarian community is a very good scope for them, hope for them to develop in the coming generation. Thank you, sir. So second question to you is, what kind of technological interventions are at pre-harvest stage and how it will help the agrarian community?
Yeah. There are lots of technological intervention in the pre-harvest stage of the farming activities. Starting from the selection of the seed variety or selection of the input. Today, there are many companies in India who are into IT segment, information technology in agriculture segment. So they are connecting the farmers to the agri input companies directly. Like farmers are connected to seed companies, to pesticide companies, to biofertilizer, micronutrient companies directly. Okay. Previously the farmer used to get the input through multiple intermediaries. Okay, it could be from the company to the farmer. It might be four layers of intermediaries, starting from the C&F distributor, then dealer, sub dealer, then the retailer, then ultimately it comes to the farming community. So farmer used to pay 30 to 40% of the more price because it comes to multiple channels. Today, as the farmer has direct access to the input companies, so they get the input, right quality of input at the right price. This is one component. The second component of IT intervention, the farm advisory. Okay. Today you will see many agricultural research institutes like ICRISAT, NRRI, National Rice Research Institute, they have their application. To the application, they provide very customized solution, very customized input to the farming community. Suppose I'm a farmer in Orissa, in Kalahandi district. Okay. So they usually provide like what kind of rice variety or what kind of seed variety would be suitable for me based upon the agroclimatic and soil condition. And all this farm advisory is available to the farming community at zero cost. Okay. So advisory, previously the farmers, they used to depend on different retail stores. They sometimes they have to go to kind of several kilometers to go to the nearest Krishi Vigyan Kendra or maybe the nearest RRTTS and to get this input, like what kind of variety they have to use, what kind of package and practice they have to follow. But today, with these applications, the farm advisory is available at the farmer's fingertip. This is second aspect of IT intervention in the pre-harvest stage. Okay. Third component, today farmer is using whatever the fertilizer, whatever the nutrient requirement for the for that soil. So usually farmers previously they used to apply the recommended dose and much more than the recommended dose for the crop. But today they go for soil testing. There are soil testing kits available, which is very cheap. It's approximately $50, which is around 3,500 rupees. It's pretty affordable for a farmer, even if for a marginal farmer. And farmer does the soil testing. He gets the inputs like nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, organic carbon, and pH. Okay, and based upon that, there is he follows the recommended dose and whatever the available nutrients in his soil. So whatever the rest rest of the nutrient requirement, accordingly he follows that. So by this, farmer saves at least 30 to 40% of the cost by using the right quantity and the right type of nutrient. Okay, so this is second component. Today also fertilizer is not wasted. Okay, it is through fertigation. Fertigation means the fertilizer is applied through the irrigation. There are some startups who have already started in this segment. So it's a like automated. I'm a farmer. I need to apply fertilizer. My basal application of fertilizer I have to use on this day. Okay. So I have automated my system accordingly. It's completely IT intervened system. So on that particular day, that particular time, as per my soil nutrient calculation, I have already done the soil testing and I know how much fertilizer I have to use. Okay, and at that particular time, that exact quantity of fertilizer is applied to my soil. Okay, so it's completely automated mode. Previously, the farmer has to depend on the labor force to get this to apply this fertilizer, but today it is automated. Okay? This is another component. I'll come to the pesticide application. All these components are the pre-harvest components of the farming activities. Pesticide application today is not a blanket pest. I mean, the farmer is not spraying the pesticide all around the field. Okay, suppose uh, a certain part of the field is affected by a particular crop. So the farmer uses, there is nowadays the drones are available. So the drone takes the images from top, and it's only applies pesticide to that portion of the plant or the plot. It's not like a blanket application of pesticide. By this, farmer is saving almost 60 to 70% of its cost. Okay, so this is another component. Today, the robots are available. One professor of IIT Kharagpur has developed one robot that it can sow the seeds, even if it can sow the paddy seeds. Okay, it can sow the groundnut seeds. Okay, so sowing of seeds today is also happening through the robots, and lots of IT interventions are happening. Like today also, it's digital fencing is available. For example, I am cultivating something, so I need not to go, I need not to invest a huge amount to kind of go for a physical fencing. There are the virtual fencings it's available. By using that, I can avoid the kind of animals getting into the field and spoiling the crop. So these are the various ways, various applications of information technology in the pre-harvest stage of agriculture community. And not only it empowers the farming community, but also it improves the yield. It gives a better price to the farming community. And at the end of the day, farmer farmer is benefited. Like I told you, it is getting more towards democratization of farming.
Yes, sir. So it's a really wonderful thought because I think it's a big time. It's a need of the hour where all this digital and technology is introduced in the farming and very ground level with the small farmers and reaching to their farms. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, my other question to you is, what are the scopes of technology intervention at the post-harvest stage and how it will impact on the farming community?
Yeah, it's a good question also. IT information technology has a great role in pre-harvest segment. Similarly, information technology has a great role in the post-harvest segment. Okay, I'll give you some examples. And today there are some applications that are available through which the bulk buyers in Europe, they can trace the farmers of African countries, okay, and they can directly source from them. They also can know through GIS system. The retail outlets in Europe, they can know that what stage the crop is. Today, suppose it is again another 15 days for harvesting. So before 15 days, this retail outlet designs its sourcing force and aligns its sourcing process so that it gets the product at the right time from the African farmer. So the retail outlet is in Europe. Through GIS, he comes to know what crop is cultivated by which farmer, what stage the crop is it, and then he aligns itself his sourcing force, and it's for the benefit. It's a win-win scenario for the retail outlet and for the farmer. Previously, the retail outlet used to purchase through multiple intermediaries. Okay, today the retail outlet is directly purchasing from the farmers. Okay, and also the retail outlet shares what kind of the quality of product is looking for and at what point of time. Okay, so the farmer accordingly sows the seed variety as well as in that particular time as desired by the retail outlet. So it's basically it's a market driven process. Okay, so this is one component. I'll give you some examples. Even if in the post harvest today, the farmer, they are able to identify what I mean to whom to sell. Like for example, there are bidding platforms. Like there are 10 different buyers are there, agri commodity buyers are there, and there are 20,000 farmers on this platform, on this application. Okay, and these 20,000 farmers, they are producing, for example, watermelon. There is 5 million tons of watermelon produced as in today. So there are a number of buyers are there. So buyers can remotely, virtually go for a bidding process. Like some buyer quotes 10 rupee per kg, some buyer quotes 12 rupee per kg. Accordingly, the farmer selects the buyer to whom it likes to sell, so that it will get a better price. Okay, so this is also another intervention. Also today, market price intelligence. Suppose I'm a farmer in a particular village, so I don't know what is the nearest mandi price. So the when a middleman comes to my house, comes to my farm gate and asks me that give me this brinjal at 10 rupee per kg. Okay, I don't have any price information that what is the mandi price today, what are the prices of the other mandis in and around to me. Okay, so there are applications today available through which the farmer can come to know the nearest mandi price as well as the other mandis around 100-kilometer radius on that day basis. Okay, so the farmer's bargaining power increases. The farmer need not to sell the intermediary what price is demanding. He can also say that this is what today's mandi price, why should I sell you at this price? So this small information, it empowers the farmer. It has multiple positive impact on the farming community. Okay, today the bulk buyers like ITC, the bulk buyers like HUL, they are directly purchasing from millions of farmers today. So that there are companies like Source Trace, there are companies like Cropin who are providing this kind of information that suppose in a district there are 20,000 farmers. Out of 20,000 farmers, 5,000 farmers are purchasing, they are producing paddy, 2,000 farmers are producing maybe groundnut, maybe 1,500 farmers might be producing potato. So these bulk buyers like ITC or HUL, they come to know from this through this application that from whom to buy, how much quantity they can get, and how they can align their source force. Okay, so like this, there are multiple IT intervention in post harvest segment. Also, there are IT intervention in the kind of the grading sorting, the post harvest, different post harvest management facilities today available. So IT has lots of intervention in the post harvest stage also, and all this IT intervention, it empowers the farming community, it improves their bargaining power, they get a better price for their produce. It is not the market driven price, it is the farmers driven price.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Yeah, this is a very good idea, sir, because the farmers just grows and they give it to the other channel members in the supply chain. They get very less amount, and where the customer, they face the problem that they pay very high amount for that vegetable. So this intervention between the from the farm to the table intervention is really good, sir. Sir, you have been in the industry for many years now, which brings to the second question of mine. In this next question of mine, this pandemic situation where nobody is allowed to go out, all the supply chains is like at all. So what do you think? What is your prospect on the MBA agribusiness students in the industry of 4.0?
Yeah. So like as I said with you, IT has a great role. Industry 4.0 has a great impact as well as a role in agriculture industry. Uh, though it might be misfortune for the other industries where the retrenchment happens because of the IT intervention, but in the same time there are enough job opportunities in agriculture sector because of IT intervention. Today many major players like you talk about TCS, Cognizant, Infosys, multiple IT major players, they have retrenched their people because of IT intervention, because of the industry 4.0. But in the same time, as I told you, there are so many startups are working. Like if we talk about pre-harvest, there are companies like AgroStar, Crow Farm, Fossil Intuit, who is giving farm advisory at a very affordable price. Also in the post-harvest segment, there are companies like Cropin, there are companies like NinjaCat, there are companies like Waycoal, there are company like Big Hat. So because of this IT intervention, all these companies, as I gave this example, all these companies, they have adopted information technology, and they have created lots of employment in our country. Okay, so it's not because of IT intervention, because of Industry 4.0, it's not job retracement in this sector. It is about job creation in this sector. So that's the beauty of Industry 4.0 in case of agriculture sector.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So I think this pandemic is blessing in disguise for the IT industry and the agri community to come together and have more fortune in the market. Thank you, sir. And sir, my last question to you is, what is the USP of SSU with respect to MBA Agribusiness program?
Yeah. So our USP, basically, it's a practical oriented program. Okay. From the very beginning of the academic session, we have a bridge course. Basically, some of our students are from non-agriculture background. Some are from commerce background. Some are from basically arts background. Some are from different backgrounds. They don't know ABC of agriculture. So we have a bridge course that's called the Basics of Agriculture, which where we have collaborated different papers of agriculture like agronomy, horticulture, plant pathology, entomology, plant breeding, genetics. So all these insights we have combined, which should be useful from a agribusiness professional point of view. Okay, so that bridge course is basically to empower the student who are not from agriculture background. Okay. The second aspect, we have multiple live projects. We provide a platform to our students to be exposed to different industries. So, like every semester, a student is exposed to different agriculture, different agri-based companies, and they do their live project. Okay, like for example, agri supply chain management. So the student has to do a live project in a agri supply chain based company. Okay, so they need to understand the sourcing process. They need to understand how the kind of the storage, grading, sorting it happens, and the other post harvest management aspects. Okay, so similarly, like for example, in case of agri finance, we expose to the students to a bank which is more focused into agriculture sector, agri credit, and they get associated with that bank for a certain period during that semester, and they learn the practical aspects. They understand how the credit analysis for a farmer is done, how what are the kind of before processing the loan, what are the factors the credit agency they usually consider. So like that, every semester for every paper, the student is exposed to the industry through a live project. And also we have case studies. We usually every paper there are multiple cases are discussed. So it's like a simulation for these students, because they are the future agribusiness professionals. So they should know what kind of challenges faced by different corporates, and how these challenges are taken care by these companies. So they get they get the picture of that also. So basically, it's not a theoretical, it's not a four-wall classroom based program. It's basically completely practical oriented with through live projects, through industry exposure. We have the different industry visit we also conduct. So the student get a holistic picture, holistic insight about this agribusiness industry.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I agree to it, sir. SSU is one of the good places which provides in the classroom experience at the same time outside the classroom experience, sir. So thank you so much, sir. Before we go to our further panelists, let me share my experience while studying at Srish University. I am the very first batch of Srish University, 2012-14. We were only 3 girls in MBA Agribusiness specialization. In our final year of the MBA, we made a project proposal to our then VC sir to set up an organic farming management lab. All 3 of us were from commerce background, but with a huge interest in agribusiness. So we got approved a patch of land with some fund and started growing some vegetables with the help of your SSU management, our faculty Barada sir, Jyoti ma'am, and my father, who is a organic farming trainer. With, and we set up the whole land. We managed our funds, our seeds, fertilizers, and other things. We used to take help of our classmates to water the plants. And the best part was we used to sell the organic vegetables to our professors. And they used to buy at the premium price with wholeheartedly. So this is the SSU for you. Support in all the direction. I have learned so many things from this 1 year of management lab, like planning, project writing, negotiation, sales, teamwork, etc., etc. So this is my experience studying at Sri University. Our second panelist is Mr. Keval Desai. He's a proud alumni of SSU. He works as a community builder at Deer Cows in Mumbai. I have taken a couple of papers for him, for Keval. Let me share some of the inside of the classroom. Keval was one of the committed student. He has this amazing quality of focusing on the positive side of anything. In Hindi, we call him Jugadu. We had such good time discussing cases in the class. He never gave up on any of the discussions. Somehow he will get 1 point to discuss more on the topic with logic and connection. Welcome, Keval, to the panel. Keval, can you please briefly explain more about your current profile and your responsibilities at Deer Cows?
Sure. Thank you so much, Sri University, for this opportunity. It is a very good platform for alumni like me to share whatever I've learned and what I'm doing to help the future prospects of agribusiness students, right? So I'll tell about my profile. So I work in a firm called Deer Cows. Now, I don't call it a firm. I call it an initiative, because this is an initiative which was started by the founders to save and protect the Desi Gir cows, right? So what we basically do is we provide home delivery of pure Gir cow A2 milk in all over Mumbai, right? So this is what is our main function. But why we started this? We started this to save and protect the Desi cows which are going extinct nowadays, right? So this was our initiative, and my role and responsibilities as a community builder. Now, what we believe is that Deer Cows and the people who consume A2 milk, or who are the protectors of Desi cows, are a community, right? So we just want to build this community and add more and more people who use Desi cow milk and who use Desi cow products, to just empower the Gwalas who work for them, and at the end save and protect the Desi cows. That is our main motive. So this is what my responsibility is. I just need to reach out to more and more people and tell them about our product, and tell them about Gau Mata, our Gir cow, our Desi Gir cow, the Desi Gir breed cow, right? And tell them to use this milk, because it is really good for our health. And lot of research have been done in terms of A1 and A2. Google is available for that. I need not tell everything here. So this is what is the basic work profile of mine.
Very nice, Keval. You are using your convincing power to communicate the good part of A2 milk, which is the actual need of avoiding the chemicals and really considering the health of our generation and the future coming. Yeah, Keval, you have been working for a few years now, and how do you see the prospect of MBA agribusiness students in post-COVID-19?
Yeah, so the future is really bright. So I would like to mention one thing here, that why I joined agribusiness, right? So I was interested in marketing, sales. That is my core. That is which I like to do. But why agribusiness as an industry? So one thing which came in my mind, that कोई भी industry में recession आ सकता है, agribusiness में नहीं आ सकता, right? Because people are not going to stop eating food, whatever happens. If it is COVID, if it is you have to be at your home, but you are never going to stop eating food, right? So this was the one main reason which I feel that an agribusiness prospect future is going to be like this. People are not going to stop eating food, right? So the industry is never going to go. I'm talking about agribusiness industry, not agriculture, right? So agribusiness industry, I'm talking about, it is really, the future is really good. And one more thing, I would like to mention here. Few days back, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji announced Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, right? Now, what is Atmanirbhar? It is independent. So when an individual is independent, the whole country is going to be independent, right? So they announced a package of 20 lakh crore to whole of India, in which 1 lakh crore is provided to the agriculture infrastructure fund, right? So now what does that mean? Infrastructure is what runs the economy, runs the agriculture field, from from pre-harvest to harvest to post-harvest to supply chain to reaching the end product to the consumer, right? So all the things. So this is what the initiative the government has taken as far as Indian community is concerned, Indian farming community. So I feel in any field you go in agribusiness, there is going to be a really good approach and really good future for this industry, as infrastructure has a lot of things involved in it, right? I think Barada sir has already mentioned in detail about those things, so I need not go into detail. But for me, as a student, as an industry professional, I feel that agribusiness industry is something which has no end and which is just going to reach heights and heights.
Yeah, it's a very good line Keval you used. Come what may, कुछ भी हो जाए, agriculture, agribusiness का तो कभी industry खत्म होगा ही नहीं. It's like our mother, you know. Come what may, she will not leave our hand. So come what may, agriculture, agribusiness will always be in the boom. Really nice. Thanks for sharing your current working experience and your student life things. How you why you selected MBA agribusiness. What was the vision? It was really insightful, Keval.
I would like to add one more thing about Shri Shri University methodology, about why agribusiness in Shri Shri University, right? So there are few things involved. One thing which attracted me the most in my 1 year of agribusiness which I studied here was the methodology of teaching, right? So I think I would have studied around 100 case studies in my 1 year. So I think that is more than enough for a professional to get the industry insight and apply it in the industry wherever they are working. Right. So this is what one thing which I really liked. And as Barada sir mentioned, it is a practical based approach. We had events. We had a lot of competitions in different colleges. So we used to go in different colleges to just present ourselves, present Shri Shri University. Right. So a lot of learnings, because it is practical approach, not only theoretical based. As I told, 100 case studies. And it was, we didn't had a book. We had only slides. So the system has been changed. Only slides. No one is going to learn the practical approach by just going through the slides or the theory based knowledge, right? So this is what I liked, the case study approach and the practical live project approach.
Yeah, thank you, Keval, for sharing your student life methodologies and all. I'm glad. Thank you. Our third panelist is Mr. Swadhin Mohanty. Mr. Swadhin is an MBA agribusiness student at Shri Shri University. Swadhin has worked with Chilka Development Authority as a junior research fellow for 2 years. At Chilka Development Authority, he worked on a World Bank funded ICZM, Integrated Coastal Zone Management Project. I had a chance to work with Swadhin on organizing one-day agribusiness conclave with him last year, and he is a responsible one. He was always on his toes to do any job. He never said no for anything. He's a good leader as well. He takes care of everyone and he takes everyone along. He works orderly with his fellow classmates. Welcome, Swadhin, to the panel. Swadhin, I would like to ask you to tell us more about interest and why did you select MBA agribusiness program at SSU?
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, all of you. Before joining MBA in agribusiness in Shri Shri University, I have gone through different state plan funded project on macrophytes of silica, biodiversity conservation, and nursery of different timber root trees, then due to due to the after that, I have joined on a senior research fellow at Regional Plant Resource Center. There, I have working on timber root trees, basically on Rakta Chandan, then Sisu Dalbergia. After all, I am thinking the rural stories of farming community. That's why I am joining the Sri Sri University, and I have gone through Sri Sri University website where I found there is so much opportunity. It's coming for the student, and the Department of Agribusiness is well equipped, and the teaching area is so friendly. Yeah, over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Swadhin, for that answer. Swadhin, I would like to ask you one more question. As like in coming year, you will be on the field for preparing your whatever you studied and implementing on the ground. What is your strategies going to be in this 1 year? How are you going to cope up with this change? Because you are actually in one side here and one side there. So how are you going to cope up?
Actually, we have a kind of vast practical exposure. Then within the span of 10 months, I have joined as an agribusiness student. I had handled 3 light projects with the guidance of the department, and industrial visit is very often at Sri Sri University. So being a student of agribusiness management, I went to Bharat Masala, Omphet for the industrial visit, and we have to show your skill, talent, coming up with new idea, and the department is always there for providing the opportunity. So carrying this belief within me, I have going towards the near future. Over to you.
Yeah, great, Swadhin. I totally agree to you. The practical aspect is the most in the current scenario. In class, whatever you have studied, you have to implement outside. You have to learn outside. So I think one last question I would like to ask you is, how do you see yourself in coming these 4-5 years? What do you see? How do you see
Like,
yourself?
yes. First of all, I am talking about myself. Many of the students are not purely from agriculture background or technically sound. So don't worry, as I am from non-agriculture background after joining the university, and we had gone through basic agriculture classes regularly presented to us by the department. Doubt clearing classes are also there. So even non-agriculture background student can also compete with the regular student. So after heading to the agricultural conclave, important discussion with expert, uh, corporate new connection with the employer. These activities are happening in the department. So discussion with farming community, new trends and technology relating to the agribusiness sector. These experience I am gathering, which is very helpful for me presently and going to be helpful shortly. So carrying new innovation, new idea is always appreciated by the department. So now I am doing my internship at a renowned startup company where I am allowed to do work independently, allowed to showcase my skill, ability, and can make decision for the growth of the venture. So last but not least, the management is very helpful in terms of learning exposures. They treat every student as their family. You may have knowledge, you may have experience, but the proper opportunity you can get from the department, then you have to showcase your talent. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Swadhin. And this past few minutes, I've been only hearing the positive about agribusiness, agriculture, and all the technologies intervention. Barada sir shared all this really good technological interventions, pre-harvest, post-harvest, and Keval also shared that whatever happens, come what may, agriculture, agribusiness industry will never come down. And the students like you, Swadhin, you have shared how hardworking and how passionate our youth are for the industry. It's really a positive sign for us to build a strong career and make us ready for the coming current situations. And I'm sure with these positive uh, mindsets, nobody nobody can turn us down in the agriculture field, and in the India especially, where our Prime Minister Modi's support is so huge in all the sectors. He's always been supportive in the education sector, also in the our agriculture sector. So with this, we have come to the end of today's discussion. My thanks goes to all the people who have given their precious time in organizing this online event. I acknowledge them. We thank you all the panelists, Barada sir, Keval and Swadhin, for your support and letting us know about this industry. So,
Thank you.
like this, tomorrow again, we are going to host an online session on entrepreneurship, which will happen at the same time with budding entrepreneurs. It will be, I'm sorry. So these budding entrepreneurs are mentored by our Barada sir. So tomorrow they're going to share what are their opportunities, the challenges, how they have been working hard and how they have been setting up their whole enterprise under the guidance of Barada sir. So this is for tomorrow. Kindly join us tomorrow on our live session. Now, and the last, I would like to show you one video about SSU who are new to SSU.
We live in a world that is constantly changing and evolving. And to face global challenges, we need people with dynamic personalities. At Sri Sri University, Odisha, the next generation of decision makers and leaders are groomed with the purpose to learn, lead, and serve. It is emerging as a center of premium education in India, blending the best of East and West. This university has a unique approach to education that combines Western innovation with the ancient values and wisdom from the East. It is one of India's first alcohol, drug, and smoke-free campus. Spread across 187 acres of land and located on a hilltop banks of the Mahanadi River, the sprawling and beautiful campus is inspired by the ancient universities of Nalanda and Takshashila. Thousands of students from across the 28 states of India and several countries of the world call Sri Sri University their home.
If I had to point out that one thing that really makes me feel special about studying in SSU, it would be that synergy between the students. And that, I think, is the most special thing.
I'm sure that these students will make decisions in the near future that will change the world for the better.
I'm really happy to be here, and with every day I understand more how I appreciate this time.
Sri Sri University offers courses from an undergrad to a master's level and also PhDs. Sri Sri University is one of the first universities in all of Asia to introduce osteopathy, a drug-free, non-invasive manual therapy that aims to bring a revolution in the path of medical science. Yoga, meditation, and spiritual values are the foundations on which the university stands tall, and it is these that are shaping the personalities of our students inside out.
There is no ragging happening. There is no one picking on each other. And that is really important. The environment of the university is such that the emotional quotient automatically develops in a person.
This is my 4th year in SSU, and I have seen a transformation on a very large scale in my life.
It gives you more than it promises, so that's all a person can ask for.
Sports is a way of life at Sri Sri University and is clearly exhibited in this vibrant campus and its students. The annual Fest Orion is a pursuit for brilliance. It is envisioned to be the biggest social celebration in Odisha and Eastern India, with the ambition of becoming the best annual fest in the world. Our alumni have been placed in some of the top multinationals, while some have set forth to create successful startups of their own.
Sri University was one place I looked at where I feel I could learn more than just what's in the books, because at the end of the day, I realized it's a lot about handling people more than systems. It's about actually coming together and making a difference. And you don't find that so easily.
In 2018, Sri Sri University was awarded the Best Bootcamp Startup Award by the Government of Odisha. Right from its year of inception, Sri Sri University has been recognized with several other such awards. Our vision is to impart holistic and value-integrated education in order to develop visionary thinkers and leaders. The revolution in education has begun.
Again, I thank you all for joining today's Prospect of MBA in Agribusiness Industry 4.0. Hope this was an educating session. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.